Welcome back to Educational Advisors. Today we'll be focusing on General Mathematics Unit 1 and 2, however in particular solving literal equations. Now you might be wondering, what is a literal equation? Now it is an equation whose solution will be expressed in terms of another variable rather than a number. Now, you might get confused between a literal equation and a linear equation. Now, an example of a linear equation is 2x plus 3 equals to 13. Now, this is a linear equation as it has one unknown whose solution for x is the number 5. So, this is an example of a linear equation. However, the second example, which is x plus 2y equals to 6, is an example of a literal equation as it has two unknown whose solution for x is 6 minus 2y. So it is called a literal equation because of its solution for x is expressed in terms of another variable. So this is an example of a literal equation. Now let's do some examples for literal equations. So we have here, if x plus 5y equals to 9, find an expression for x. So the first step is to write down the original equation, which is x plus 5 equals to 9. Step 2, subtract 5y from both sides of the equation to give your answer. So what the first step to do is to write the equation once again. However, you minus 5y from both sides, just like this. So we're left with x plus 5y minus 5y equals to 9 minus 5y. So we know that 5y minus 5y is 0. So x is equal to 9 minus 5y. And that's what we're left with. Therefore, the literal equation is x equals to 9 minus 5y. Okay, so let's do another example. So if 3x, just had to write the x, I forgot it before, plus 2y equals to 4, find an expression for y. So the first step is to write down the original equation. So it's 3x plus 2y equals to 4. We should always first write down the original equation before solving it. Step 2 is to subtract 3x from both sides of the equation. So, once again, 3x plus 2y minus 3x equals to 4 minus 3x. So as you can see, we have minus 3x from both sides of the equation. So we are left with 3x. Now as we know, 3x minus 3x is 0. So 2y equals to 4 minus 3x. We want to get 2 on its own, so we have to divide everything by 2. So we are left with y equals to 2 minus 3 over 2x. And that is an example of a literal equation. The second part of the question is to now find an expression for x. So just like before, we have to first write down the original equation. Then we have to this time subtract 2y from both sides of the equation. So we write down, 3 plus 2y minus 2y equals to 4 minus 2y. So we know that 2y minus 2y is 0, so we are left with 3x equals to 4 minus 2y. So this time we want to get 3 on its own, so we have to divide everything by 3. And we are finally left with x equals to 4 over 3 minus 2 over 3y. So that is a second example of a literal equation. The last example is if 2a minus 4b equals to 8, we now need to find an expression for a. So the strategy of this is to rearrange the equation so that a becomes the subject. So the first step is to rewrite the original equation, which is 2a minus 4b equals to 8. The next step is to add 4b to both sides of the equation. So we can see that it's 2a minus 4b equals to 8. However, we now need to add 4b so that the numbers become positive. So it's 2a minus 4b plus 4b. This is to one side of the equation. And then a plus 4b. So as you can see, we've added it to both sides of the equation. So now we need to simplify it. So we know that minus 4b plus 4b is 0. So we are left with 2a equals to 8 plus 4b. We want to get a on its own. So we have to divide everything we have by 2. And we are finally left with a equals to 4 plus 2b. That was our last example. And that comes to the end of our video. Thanks for watching. I hope you have a clear understanding of solving literal equations. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and stay tuned for our next video.